Hi there, Chris here with another fresh tip for you all. In this video we are going to continue our look at painting the Necron Overlord from the 40K INDOMITUS box set. And in this video we are going to continue our work on the weapons. So to get us started, we're going to use some Nuln Oil. This is the regular matte variety. And with this, we are simply going to apply this over some of the black areas that we had previously done in the previous video. This is just to simply knock the color back a bit and also allow some of that Nuln Oil to fall within recesses, just further defining some of those little details and such, because I was a little bit ham-fisted, as it were, when I was applying the color. I also just pull some of those highlights back. They were just a little bit abrupt for my liking. Next, we're going to take some titanium white from Liquitex. This is an acrylic ink. These are water-based acrylics, and they'll mix with your regular paints as well. I also add a drop of Liquitex Flow Aid, just to help with the flow of this ink. You see, we just simply touch the areas, allow the ink to fall within the recesses, and then just really quickly with my thumb, I draw the excess off the surface, leaving the ink inside the little recesses. I do this twice. I don't show doing the second pass, but I do go back over this and just to re-establish some of the white in those little areas. Again, it's a fairly fast process, but I do really enjoy it. It's a nice way of picking out those little areas on the model. Next, we're going to switch over to some ceramite white. Slap a little bit onto our palette. We're going to use just a drop of Lamian Medium, and this is just to thin it out ever so slightly to help with flow. And we are going to begin base coating these little grilled things. I don't know what these are. When I'm looking at this little model here and these little punchy fist thing, I think it's kind of like a power source or something. I don't know. So I figured, you know what, let's make it glow. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to begin picking out these other areas. We're going to make them glow. You can see here, I'm pointing out that because of the ink, it had transferred into the white ink when it was drying, which is kind of interesting, which is why I apply second layering. Here I'm just getting the orb as well as the little grills on the side of the staff or whatever, this halberd thing. I don't know what this is. Some sort of crazy Necron weapon. But we basically are going to do 2 layers on each of those little details. And I also do the base coat inside that little punchy fist thing. There's the way those coils kind of come back. There's further detail there, but I don't really quite show it 100% of the way here. Next, we're going to take some golden fluorescent pink. I really like this stuff, as you may or may not have noticed. I added 2 drops of Flow Aid to this, and again, we would just simply hit the areas on the blade of the halberd. If it's a halberd, I don't know. But again, just really quickly, we just simply allow this to fall within the recesses, and then just really quickly with our thumb wipe the excess away. And in hindsight, I really should have sealed the blade before proceeding with the previous step of laying the white in here, as I could have cleaned this up a little bit better if I had sealed it, and that way I could also not worry about pulling the color if I'm a little too aggressive with my thumb or my finger, whichever it is, pulling at the paint there, because you do run that risk. Because we have the paint in a thinned out fashion as such, we are just simply going to begin laying in this color into these little details here and let it fall within the recesses. Now on camera, it looks pretty interesting already. It looks really bright and you see the fluorescence in the recesses and things like that. But to the eye, it actually didn't look that good. But here it kind of looks really fun and interesting. But again, it's just because of the luminous nature of fluorescent paint. To the eye, it doesn't look as cool. This here looks like it's pretty much a finished effect, but no, when you're looking at it in person, it's not that cool. And of course, with that previous ceramite white layer, you want to make sure you do at least 2 layers on there just to build up a nice solid white base, because that is going to help the fluorescence to really, really shine. Here you can see I'm painting the insides of that little punchy fist detail, getting that color on there and building it up. Once we are done with this layer, we're going to let it dry, and then we're going to come back in and apply a second layer onto all these details. We don't really worry about it so much, I think, with the blade, although I think I do come back and hit the blade again. Here I'm going to use some fluorescent to pink right out of the bottle, no thinning, and I'm really just kind of concentrating the color really on the high points of the coils. I just want to get this color more solid, and once you really start to build this up, and this is probably about 2.5 layers, it really starts to shine. Your eye kind of struggles to see other details on the model. The little orb, again, we do another little layering on there, and the little coils on his halberd detail here, we fill that in. And it looks like we're really kind of starting to fill the details in, but again, it's just because of the nature of the paint itself. It just looks like it's just kind of overwhelming the detail, as it were, but I assure you it's not. It's really fun, and when this paint does dry, it reduces down. It doesn't have a tendency to, like, obscure detail or anything like that. Some paints can do that, really thick paints. These aren't really thick, these are very thin. Next, we're going to come in with some quinacridone magenta. This is Liquitex ink. I'm going to slap a little bit onto my palette, tiny amount, and a drop of Floaid. I'm going to grab a generous amount of water, thin this color out ever so slightly, and we are basically going to apply this as a bit of a shading, and I'm concentrating this in towards the inside of the punchy fist detail, so it's kind of darker at the metal point where the little coils are kind of protruding outwards. Kind of, I don't know, it was an aesthetics choice. I could have done it the reverse direction as well, made the power sourcing brighter, more intense towards the inside, but I just decided on this way. Here for the orb itself, I simply just go around the outside. I pretty much hit the entirety of that detail, but I'm really kind of just trying to concentrate it mostly on the outer portion of the detail. And of course, the coils also get a little wash as well. And on the runes on the inside of the blade, I do the edge, the root part of the runes towards the cutting edge of the blade, imagining like the power source is coming and it is intense closer to the spine of the blade. Is kind of what I was going for there. So that's why it's only just like kind of the forward half of each of those little circles I fill in just a little bit, not too much. Again, because we're working with the ink in a thinned out fashion, it just barely tints that surface. And I do actually apply another little layer inside those little runes in there. Next, we're going to take a little bit more of the quinacridone once it's dry, and we're just going to build up a little bit more intensity and contrast in towards the center of that punchy fist thing. I keep calling it a punchy fist. I don't know what it is, but, and again, on the inside coils there, they also build up towards the core, and then on the outer portion of the coils on the halberd and on the outer portions of the orbs themselves, I build a little bit more color, so it's a little bit intense, a little bit more intense to the central point of the detail. Is kind of what I'm going for there. These areas I'm imagining a intensity of power source kind of thing. Fluorescent pink and some titanium white. Both of these are from Golden's High Flow line. We're going to add 1 drop of this, so it's kind of like a 50-50 mix. Now the white does knock a bit of that intensity out, but that is fine because we're just using just a little bit. This is just going to be like a little edge highlight, and of course I'm doing this on the outer portions of the punchy fist coils. I keep calling them coils, but I don't know what these details are. They're crazy sci-fi stuff anyway. And where I'm just laying it on the outer edge and just trying to catch the high points. You can also, highlight it however you want, even building the intensity in towards the center if that was what you wanted. The coils, I simply just catch the outside of the coils closest to that icon in the middle of that little power coil thing. I imagine it's power coil. I have no idea what that is. And, again, it just looked visually interesting just to build that up like that. And then on the orb itself, I just do the uppermost portion in towards the way that little detail comes over the orb, like it looks like a little bit of a clasp. And I do it on the upper portion, so it's kind of like a highlight, like a light sourcing there, but it's also the high point on the detail itself. So again, it was just an aesthetics choice. I didn't really overly think it. Ceramite white is next, and this is going to be just for that little icon inside the power source here. And so just very carefully, I'm just catching with just the high points. The paint has just been thinned out ever so slightly with the dampness of the brush, just to help with flow. You can see I've also working with the brush in a chiseled fashion, which basically you just draw it through the paint, turn it 180 degrees, draw it through the paint again, and you have a nice flat chisel on the brush hairs. We're going to bust out the fluorescent pink again. You can see it's a little too heavy there, and because the paint itself is actually quite thin, and it has a very low light fast quality to it, which means that the under layers will show right through with this stuff. So here I'm just simply building up the layers. I actually do 2 passes on that icon to get it nice and solid, nice fluorescent pink look, and then of course I go in with some black Templar contrast and just clean up around that icon on the forward portion there. And with that being done, that is the weapons of our Necron Overlord. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Hopefully you guys are playing around with fluorescent colors and busting outside the norms for how we do Necrons. Well, thanks for watching. Big thank you to all my patrons. Without their support, these videos would not be possible. If you're considering Patreon support, click the link in the description below, and you'll be taken off to a magical website called Patreon, where there are varying tiers to support and help this channel grow and make better videos. Take care of those brushes, and they will take care of you.